Thanks again for being here.
All right, thanks, Gary, for asking me. Two things for all of you in the chat coming at you, links to the slides I'm about to show you, and especially a link to a Google document that's got links and my contact information. Very importantly, on the second page of that document is a flow chart, and that's where we're going to be spending most of our time here, what brief time I have with you today. I'm appreciative to be speaking with you. This is the first time I've graduated with a PhD in 1997, but this is like the first time I've actually ever given a talk or workshop to Vanderbilt people, so I'm really appreciative of that. It's also the first time I've actually ever given a talk about email, which is interesting. I mean, as Derek said, I write sort of endlessly about email. I think people wish I would shut up about it, honestly. Personal productivity, I engage with, or try to engage with people on Twitter, but I've never been asked to give a talk about it. And when I write about it, it's like eerily silent in the comments section. And I'm starting to get the idea that although this is a hot topic, there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about this. Like it's like talking about religion or politics or anatomical functions. It's like something that takes place. We all know it does, but trying to deal with it, it can bring up some deep feelings about this. But I think it's important to talk about this. And I'm grateful that you're taking time out of your schedule today. I know you're super busy because I think that email, like Derek said, it's a blessing and a curse. We do want to take care of it. I don't know if we want to feed it so much anymore. It might be already too fed, but I believe that looking back over the last year, I mean, a lot of us have had issues with burnout, with overwork, with overwhelm. A lot of that is stuff that's systemic, and it's not necessarily directly in our control. We work together to try to make our systems better and all of that. A lot of it, though, is in our control. And I think that some of the choices that we make sometimes about email are just simply votes in favor of more overwhelm and more being overburdened. And I'm really very interested in helping faculty and helping myself kind of get to the point where, insofar as I have control over what my environment looks like and the inputs that I get, I'm going to really try to seize upon that. And I think email is a prime target to really make a lot of progress in giving ourselves better lives, honestly, in a very short amount of time, less time than you might think. So I'm going to get my screen shared here in just a second. I've got two monitors, so I want to make sure I share the right screen. Here we are. And so what I'm going to speak about just briefly here is a habit loop for, excuse me, for dealing with email, for how I deal with email, because I believe that we can set up hacks and systems and apps and so forth to manage what we do with our attention, our time, our tasks, our information. But if we're not engaging in good habits, like good hygiene, if you will, then a lot of that stuff may not make much of a difference. So inbox zero is the target for what I'm going to be speaking today. Inbox zero, you may have heard of this before. It is kind of what it sounds like. It's the state of having your inboxes, all of them, and that could include your email. I happen to have two email accounts. This is my personal one, and you can see there's nothing in it right now, or as of last night, and I have a one for Grand Valley State. And we also have other inboxes. I have a physical inbox that's sitting here with some stuff in it. I have a Google Keep where I have just passing thoughts that I grab. Having those inboxes, as many as you have them, empty or nearly empty most of the time. This is a term that was coined several years back by Merlin Mann, who is formerly a productivity sort of guru, Silicon Valley type. And he actually defined inbox zero, not in terms of the number of emails that are in your inbox, but the amount of attention that is going to your inbox at any time. Like you might have some stuff in your inbox, 2 or 3 things in there right now, but you shouldn't really be thinking about what's in your inbox. You should have your attention focused on the here and now, being fully present with the people in your lives, whether it's students or research collaborators or your family, and the problems that really need to be focused on right now. That's where your attention should go, not to what's in your email. And so insofar as our attention is being diverted from the things that we really need to focus it on, that's where we have to do the work. Now, you might be sitting there thinking like, well, I just ignore my inbox, so I have inbox zero constantly. Well, you might think that you're ignoring it, but you really aren't, because there's this phenomenon from psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. Some of you may be actual real psychologists here, and so I'm going to try not to embarrass myself as a mathematician speaking about this. The Zeigarnik effect simply refers to the fact that incompleted tasks or tasks that interrupted have more of a memory attention footprint than tasks that we do complete. If I'm given something to do and I get it done, and 3 hours later you ask me about it, I have to kind of work a little bit harder than if you ask me 3 hours later about a task that I was working on but did not complete. Okay, so the flip side of this is every email that is sitting in your inbox where you haven't decided what to do with it yet. Maybe you've read it, but it still has some maybe actionable items in there and you don't know when or where or what context you're going to work on them in, or maybe you haven't read them at all. Every email that's in your inbox is exerting some kind of very small downward force on your attention, whether you realize it or not. It's often unconscious. An email is not going to exert a lot of force, but compounded over dozens or hundreds or possibly even, God forbid, thousands of emails sitting in your inbox, it becomes a real issue. And yeah, I have colleagues who I love dearly. I'm here at Grand Valley State University. We're a public university in the state of Michigan. And I'm in a department of 35 faculty, and I love every one of my colleagues. But I'm telling you, I was sitting in a meeting recently with one of my colleagues, and I happened to look over at his iPad, and he had the little badge on the email, and it said 1,235 on that little red badge. And I was like, I just turned to him. It's like, Paul, what is wrong with you? Do something about this. How can you live like this? He was like, what? What are you talking about? If you have that many emails in your inbox, whether they're read or unread, they are exerting like Lilliputians. So they're just pulling on you just a little bit, but every one of those, it pulls on you. And you have enough of those in your inbox and you haven't dealt with them, you suddenly are less able to be fully present with the people and problems and opportunities that are around you, whether it's at work or at home. You know, we all want a better, you can call it work-life balance. It may not be the best term for it. We all want better lives, period, that are more integrated, more seamless, that have meaning to them. The only way to do that is to free up attention for ourselves. And so email is a huge downside for this, because we sometimes let things pile up. We read them, but we don't do anything with them. We leave them in the inbox and don't know what they are. And it adds up. Okay.